Hey YouTube, it's Caleb with Olympus Reptiles. Today we're going to do one of my favorite videos that we do once a year. Unfortunately, Matt's not here to do it, but we have our grow-ups. So every year we do like a mass upgrade instead of like one upgrade or two upgrade here at a time. We kind of do one big mass upgrade. Now this year's 70 video, which is what we're going to cover now, all the females that went up to 70s, is not going to be as big as it normally is, and that's because the females that also need upgraded from 40s are currently pregnant. So we're going to leave them be, and then we'll upgrade them after they lay, just kind of get that going. So right off the bat, first one we're going to do is this one right here. So this is 181007. It is a pied female. Kind of a lower white pied, but I love how it's got the bands on it. Now she's in shed, so she's not as bright as she usually is, but she's a really nice orange for a single gene pied. But she
is het, isn't she?
This one, no.
No.
This one's straight pied. I guess, I mean, there's possible that I'm missing something just because I have a number and I don't have that in front of me, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones that are just het pied. This one's been a little bit of a struggle bus. It took a little bit for it to get going. We had dry spouts of not wanting to eat. We've had just sucking at life moments, and now that she's really kicking it off and doing all right, we went ahead and bumped her up. As far as size and what we look for, you're gonna have females like her. Like if she goes, like if I upgraded her today, let's say I upgraded her yesterday, and Friday she doesn't eat, next Friday she doesn't eat, and then maybe the Friday after that she doesn't eat, it is okay to back them down a size. Just because you upgrade them doesn't mean they're now locked in at that size. Sometimes that's what they need. We had a female that it took, I think, 2 clutches of her going before moving her up to 70 permanently was a thing, because she just liked really tight corners, and the 40 or 70s weren't enough for her. So we'll see how this one does. But as far as what I look for is if they're looking like they are just kind of cramped and their sides are up on the wall, it's probably time to upgrade. But really it's just kind of a general feel thing. I don't really go off of weight. I know some people have like a this weight, and once it hits this weight, it gets upgraded. And then once it hits this weight, it gets upgraded. You can do that. There's no problem with that. I just think it's more accurate to do it a way of just by looking at the animal, how it's acting, how it's eating, things like that. It's much more behavior based in my opinion. So this is one of our beautiful pies that got upgraded. She's not going to go this year. We did try and breed her, but she has not been showing signs, so I went ahead and upgraded her. Next one is probably one of my favorites that we have here. So this is a Pastel Krypton, so het clown, het cryptic, het desert ghost. So technically a triple het, but since clown and cryptic are allelic to make the Krypton, we technically have a visual recessive and a het desert ghost, as well as you have pastel in there. Now, I'm really excited about this upgrade because she also started off really rough. I'm pretty sure this is the one that for like the first 4 months, yeah, you're a little feisty. First 4 months, we really had to assist feed her. We had to help her go to the bathroom. But now she is taking off, eating food, growing like a champ. And really, at her current rate she's going of weight, last we weighed her, she was like 850, 900 grams. With the way she's eating, she easily will be up there this year, I think, if she keeps on their trend. And we'll be able to try and go for Kryptons or cryptics, the visual cryptics that are also desert ghosts. So double visuals there. That would be really awesome with pastel floating in. And the male also has a copy of pastel and lesser. So going for like a super pastel, lesser, Krypton, desert ghost would be phenomenal. And even if you don't get the lesser in there, this snake right here with desert ghost would look absolutely amazing. The enhancement of the colors, the clean of the pattern. Yeah, I'm really excited about this snake. Clown and Krypton, for those who know, are one of my favorite genes. I love it, I love it, I love it. As much as Matt doesn't, it is for me. I'm so excited about these.
So this snake was born in 2020, and the previous snake was born in 2018?
Yes. Yep. So and this, you can even tell this one is a little bit smaller too. One, that's just going to due to age, and two, this one actually I think had a little more rough start. She's a little flustered, so we're going to try and keep her calm. But Absolutely beautiful. And because it is eating so well and it is growing like a champ like it is, and we deemed it was ready to go up to the 70 because I expect there's going to be a size boom pretty quickly on this thing. And my favorite story about this is how Olympus Reptiles got into Krypton. They did the trouser ended up being het caramel, which the het clown females had the possibility of being. She just tried to bite me. So I'll go ahead and put her back while I tell this story. So they ended up all being het caramel, which ended up having kinked babies. Because of that, they were waiting to look at adding a new male to be able to produce visual clowns. So for the time being, they took a multi-gene desert ghost with a it was a visual desert ghost, so it had pastel lesser and then the visual of the desert ghost to try and make combos that were het for desert ghost, just so you don't waste 4 females doing nothing. And I remember watching the live stream video and Matt cutting out the first one, which was a pastel lesser Krypton, and it just looked amazing. And we weren't quite sure what was going on. After the second one, I was almost sure, but not enough sure to be like, hey, this is what's happening. And so to accidentally stumble on that project was actually really, really cool. And so watching these guys grow up has been a lot of fun. So moving on to the next one. I'm actually going to take these pins off so I don't get confused at where I'm at. This is just a simple 2-gene animal. It is a pewter, which is just pastel. Black pastel, I believe, is what you guys use, because you don't really run cinnamon except for the cinnamon that I brought over. I really like pewters. They're drastically different for just 2 genes. Typically 2 genes, they can be a drastic difference, but for the most part, they look like more dominantly like one gene or the other. This really doesn't dominantly look more pastel or really black pastel for that matter. So it's been really cool. I know Matt said he kept this because he didn't have one and he just kind of wanted one. And I'm really glad he did, because watching this age from that really pretty silver as a baby and age and keep that silver has been really fun. This girl is a 19. So it may not look like it, but she is definitely thicker, and she may not be longer, but definitely thicker than that Krypton. But not quite as big as that pied, but the pied is older. So as you can see, we're kind of ranging in different sizes for what we're upgrading. Because again, for us, it's not really a weight thing, it's more of how the snake looks, how it feels, kind of feel out the situation. Now this girl is pounding food like no other. It's not one I'm worried about having to downgrade if I have to. The Krypton probably isn't one, but that pied is one I will keep an eye on. That is something you want to keep an eye on when you are upgrading. Some people will go from 20s and go to 70s and skip the 40. That is okay too. Just again, be mindful that it may not like it. Now, if you have, because I've had this issue where I've had one that was kind of too big for a 20. There was no 40, so we were upgrading to a 70. But it wasn't really adjusting well to that because it was just such a massive upgrade. Something you can do is stick like a hide in there. It doesn't really make it darker, right? Because you're already in a dark tub, but it makes them feel the walls of the enclosure because they're in a smaller hide. It just makes them a little more secure, and I've just noticed that kind of helps a little bit. But yeah, so this is our little pewter. Hopefully also who's eating well enough that will probably be ready to go this year as well with the way they eat. And then last one for the 70s is another one that I've really enjoyed watching grow up. So what we think this is, we're not 100% sure on all of it. I'll tell you what we do know. We know Axanthic, obvious. That's obvious from the fact that it's a gray and black snake. The yellow belly is quite confidently there. You can see all the checkering, the flaming up the side. If I can get her to sit still. Definitely yellow belly. Pastel, because we know the dad was a super pastel. So that was passed on. The question is fire in there or not? We have days where we're like, nah, it's definitely not in there. She's really dull. And then she sheds and we're like, oh, she's aged really well. It could be. So she's either a really nice pastel yellow belly or there's fire in there. Really, it's just, even if there's no fire in there, that is just an incredible looking Axanthic. It aged really well. You guys are all really fired up today. Aged really well. It's got the colors you want to, you don't want something to really start browning out. This animal is a good size, and there's a little bit of darkening to it, but it's not like, I've seen some that you can't tell the difference between an Axanthic and a normal because it just really, really browned out terribly. This one aged really, really well. I would want to, with this, maybe put a fire male to it, and then you'd be asked, well, why, Caleb? Why would you put a fire male to this? Well, because if I get super fires, I know fire is in this. And 2, that means I would have a super fire het Axanthic. I would keep back a female, and then breed that to like the super pastel Axanthic. And then that means the worst I could make is a firefly het Axanthic. And the best I could make is a superfly, or a firefly Axanthic. And then you can hold that. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this. So many things to layer in. I am still not sure what I think. I'm almost starting to lean more towards the fire not being there. But it definitely could be. I could be wrong. We have 2 different, they're all from the same line, I believe. But we have like 2 different expressions of fire. We have a really lower flaming fire. And then we have one fire that just, we had one baby hatch out that we thought it was Desert Ghost. Like, it was just so bright. So it's really hard to say. I'm really bad with fire. Put in the comments. Tell me what you think and tell me why, right? I posted something in a group the other day asking a question on what their thoughts were, and everyone just put their answers, but they never put an explanation why. I like learning, so if you put an answer in there, tell me what you think and why. Also, it just helps with the comments. I actually did see, I didn't watch it, right? We posted our first video that I was by myself yesterday. I didn't watch it because I hate watching myself. But I did see the comments, and I appreciate the support of people saying, good job for first video, being solo. I think someone said that's tough to be solo. It is. It is drastically harder not having Matt here doing 90% of the talking. I feel myself stutter over myself. I hear myself change like the subject on a dime. Like, I hear it. And so I appreciate the support as well. I promise as we get going, hopefully these videos that we filmed today are better because I feel like I'm getting better at it. And over time, I'll just get better at it overall. But these are the 4 that we are upgrading. Like, again, that's not all we're upgrading to 70s. There's a lot more. They're just gravid, and I don't want to move them when they're full of eggs. Not something I recommend. If you do, I wouldn't. So there will be more, but we'll just move them after. Curtis, do you have any questions?
What year is that baby?
This baby, let me double check because I'm not 100% sure on this one. This is a 21. So again, we didn't have any of that were the same year. That just kind of goes to show that weight doesn't really matter to us. It's more about how the animal feels. Is it comfortable? Is it eating well? Is it, if it's pounding food, like that Pewter, 99% of the time will catch the food out of our hands, really. Like, as we're putting it in, she's taking that out of the air. It's insane. So, any other questions?
Nope.
Alrighty, guys, we're going to slide over to Patreon and talk about something that I'll come up with by the time it comes up.